We used to text a lot, but then I noticed that she got a bit more distant when she was in the relationship. So I tried saying what's wrong, is anything bothering you, and just letting her know that I was there for her.
You will know your relationship is toxic when he or she pressures you into doing something and you don't feel comfortable. I always used to put myself in my friend's shoes. I always used to think, what would I be doing in that situation? And that's how I helped them out.
My name is Zoya, and this is the Friends Can Tell podcast. National research has shown that young people experience the highest rates of relationship abuse of any age group. When we experience toxic behavior in a relationship, a close friend is the person that young people are most likely to go to for help. 90% of young people have tried to support a friend in this situation, but 83% have said that self-doubt about how to best help gets in the way. In this podcast, you're going to hear a conversation between myself and Fatima where we share our experiences of supporting a friend facing toxic and controlling behaviors in a relationship. This is the first time we'd spoken. Just a warning that this conversation contains references to relationship abuse and self-harm.
Shall we start introducing ourselves?
Yeah.
I am a A-level student studying English literature. I'm British Bangladeshi and I'm a Muslim. What about you?
I'm Zoya, and also an A-level student, and I'm British Pakistani, and I'm studying English literature as well.
So we do quite similar things. Do you want to start talking about your experience first?
Yeah, sure. Well, my experience, I started noticing that my friend Sarah's behaviour was quite weird and different from how she was behaving before. And when she had a relationship with her partner was quite emotionally abusive and would just tell her negative things and try and constantly put her self-esteem down. And I think they even pressured her to do stuff. So I knew there was something that was going on. So I tried saying what's wrong, is anything bothering you, and just letting her know that I was there for her. And we used to text a lot, but then I noticed that she got a bit more distant when she was in the relationship. But I still texted her just to know that, I'm there for her. And I kept asking her what was wrong, but she never really opened up until one day in school she came forward and said that she was self-harming, and then I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a lot to take in, but I made sure that I didn't react so that she weren't put off telling me if she did in the future. So then I told her that there's school counselors and there's other mental health resources that she could use for support, and obviously that I'm there for her as well, but it's probably best if she gets help from a professional as well, because I didn't know how to fully comfort her or make her try and focus on healthier coping techniques.
How did you feel knowing your friend was going through what you said about when she was self-harming and everything?
I felt kind of helpless. I didn't really know what I could do personally, but I tried my best and just letting her know that I'm there for her. But I was kind of struggling and really stressed out myself. So I was trying to ask everyone, what can I do to help her? And they all, to be honest, my family were helpful, but they weren't really that helpful.
Yeah, I think it's because people don't understand the situation and they just feel like mental health is somewhat bad to look at.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my friend finally confided in the school counselor and told her, and they'd regularly have sessions just with her. And then I noticed that she still confided in me, but now she had techniques from a professional on how she could deal with all these emotions. So I noticed that it really helped her.
Yeah, when you start talking to people, you feel more open, you feel more happy about yourself. And it's best in that situation just to talk it out, to be honest. Even if you're talking to yourself in the mirror, like that's probably the best technique you could probably do. Talk to yourself in the mirror, have a cry.
Do you want to talk about one of your experiences?
So a peer that I know, they got into an online relationship, and right now online relationships are like optimum with young people, but you actually don't know what's behind that screen, which is very scary at that sometimes. And when you meet them in real life, they might be so like someone different, but when they went into that relationship, they felt like they had feelings for each other, and they were really into each other until the other person started asking for things, similar to yours, using pressure, and they were sent expensive gifts to them, so they even felt that there was more like pressure, they had to do it. And the way they were manipulating them, the way they were saying, look, this is what I've given you, why not giving me this back? The way they were manipulating them, I think that's what really got to them. And I didn't know up until like the first month of their relationship. And me and my friend, we have known each other for a really long time, so I would have expected her to come and tell me earlier.
And how was your experience, like supporting your friend? Like, what emotions did you feel?
You feel very overwhelmed, and because what I was going through at the same time, so I was bullied for a really long time. The reason why I was bullied was because of my skin color, and there was like so many thoughts going through my head at that time. I was like, how do I help them and how do I help myself? So I just gave them the best advice, and I told them, you need to go tell your parents because this is serious.
So how did their parents react?
They were like, you should have told us from the start. I think young people need to be more open to their parents, even if they don't understand.
Yeah, I wish like more parents were like that though. Like a lot of the young people are actually scared of their parents and scared how they'll react. So I wish like more parents, I can only speak for Asian parents, and the parents are a lot stricter, and it's quite taboo to even discuss relationships with them.
I think it's just because it's haram in our religion, that's why.
I think maybe friends should try and understand that, especially if they're from a different culture, that instead of saying like talk to your parents or go to them, that they might not even be in a safe household, or there might be scenarios where they cannot go to their parents because their parents aren't as loving and supportive as theirs are. Like I know one of my friends, her mum was in a really bad situation, and her dad was like really abusive and hospitalized her. So she came here and she ran away, and he has a restraining order now. But her family actually say that she should stay with him because it's disrespecting them for her to move away. And obviously, her growing up with people like that surrounding her and just hearing that, I thought that's going to really maybe mess with her when she grows up and is going into relationships. But I tried to tell her and explain to her that you need to put yourself and your family's well-being first rather than like anything else. So just understanding that sometimes people can't confide in the same people that you can, and maybe have an external source. It's really hard to get out of a toxic relationship when you're actually in it, like you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in this situation, you have to act really clever. You can't get yourself out just like that. So when I went up to my friends and I asked them what happened, tell me like everything. Like I need to know everything from the start. And they started telling me about it, and I could feel myself inside crying about how bad it was. And it took them a really long time to lose contact with the other person.
Yeah.
Just because of the way they were pressuring them. That's how dear the situation was.
Yeah. I feel like young people now, they're surrounded by so much bad news. And do you know how Gen Z, wait, sorry, I'll just quickly say this, but do you know how Gen Z, they always use the death emoji. Everyone jokes about wanting to die and stuff like that. I see that all the time on TikTok and stuff. And I feel like this generation is just surrounded by a lot of negativity, and obviously with lockdown as well, and their mental health has gone quite bad.
I think at the end of the day, we need to think about who we're surrounded with. You know, when you've got a good friend, they ask you how you are. What we're talking about, toxic relationships, there are things like abuse from peers, you know, like you said, family abuse. We do need friends for that. And we need to choose the right friends. Yeah, and I think that's vital when it comes to these types of situations, because relationships are really heavy on the mind and mental health as well. So my friends, they were in, let's just say, a worse state than me. So I guess I just kept on fighting all these voices in my head while my bullies were like bullying me. But you know, the network of people around here these days, my head of year, he helped me come out of it. And you know, I thank them so much for that, for making me realize how I could help myself while helping my friend.
I think that's like really impressive that you helped yourself as well as your friend. I think that's actually really important because people sometimes they forget to focus on themselves.
Yeah, so when you're in that particular situation, you always rethink, you know, your steps. You always rethink, oh, what am I doing wrong here? Or what are they doing wrong here, you know? And then that's how I overcame my situation. Yes, you know, as Muslim, when you have that connection with your God, I felt like it wasn't there. And once I started strengthening it, then I realized that was my mistake.
I was gonna ask, how do you find personally like relationships, like even not now, but how do you think you'll find it, or your perception of a relationship, like growing up in an Islamic household and being a Muslim yourself?
None of my siblings, like none of us have been in relationships. I think that's why I'm not in one.
I'm still happy. I feel like people, they put too much pressure on their happiness in a relationship. Like this is with my friends. Oh, I won't be happy until I have a boyfriend or something like that. And they put this false expectation that if they were in a relationship, they'd be so much happier or everything would be perfect. But it's not true.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I think. Happiness comes from yourself, like your self-achievement. It doesn't come from seeing someone else. You come first in life. You should always know that. I think that's what you need to see in a relationship. You will know your relationship is toxic when he or she pressures you into doing something and you don't feel comfortable.
Like this discussion will probably, like you said, like a lot of parents don't discuss it. So maybe seeing that will help people. Like, do you think that when you were in that situation, seeing someone from a similar background to you would have like helped, and seeing how they like dealt with it?
Yes, because I was silent for I was silent for about 6 months while this was going on. 6 months. Imagine everything that was going through my head that time. Yeah, it's just really nice when you have that bond with, you know, that particular person and you can tell them anything. I always used to put myself in my friend's shoes. I always used to think, what would I be doing in that situation? And that's how I helped them out. And when I saw myself, I was like, why don't I do the same? Why don't I look at this from a different perspective? And, you know, that's when I started seeing it as, you know, I don't need to be quiet. I can speak up for myself.
There's so much access that people can have to mental health support now. But it's just really finding those people that need it, branching out to those areas that might not discuss it as much.
There's this quote, it said, very light after every hardship comes ease. You know, ride the waves for now, and a day will come when you have the last laugh.
That like hardships will come and go.
Yeah, and I think that's really important.
This podcast was brought to you by the Friends Can Tell campaign, which raises awareness of how young women and non-binary young people can support friends who experience toxic behavior or abuse in their relationships. The experiences Fatima and I shared were our personal stories and opinions. If you'd like advice on the safest ways you can help your friends and support the campaign, you'll find these in our show notes, available on your podcast platform or at yourbestfriend.org.uk/podcast. All of the conversations in the Friends Can Tell series are available now for you to listen. This podcast was made with me, Zoya, and Fatima. It was created by On Our Radar and produced by Chris Walter, Chloe Cheeseman, and Sarah Cudden.